So after that rousing divine abodes, we're moving into our last formal meditation practice. And I wanted to invite the practice of forgiveness. It's totally fine if you want to get down, put a blanket over your body, head, toes, feet, bring in your pets, children, whatever feels cozy to you. Excuse me, I'm still burping. Okay. I'll just say a few words. In the interview groups, we've talked a lot about judgment, and those of you who have been on this path, and particularly if you've been on these or other retreats with me, then you've heard me say this over and over again as a mantra, that judgment and shame and blame hold no wisdom, no nutrition, nothing that is healing in them, nothing that is true in them. And having said that, just like racism, sexism, homophobia, xenophobia, ableism, and ageism, and anti-Semitism, and all the expressions of the culture that rest on judgment, shame, blame, and hatred, we have taken these energies in as a form of defense to survive in this world. And so in acknowledging this, and acknowledging that we use the tools available to us, we're also offering a field of kindness and forgiveness for the ways that we continue to use them, because they've been so embedded deeply in ourselves. And the power of forgiveness is that it is the energy that is the direct antidote to judgment, shame, and blame, because it allows us to be where we are in a field of love. Forgiveness doesn't mean we don't hold ourselves accountable for any actions that are harmful, or any ways where we believe the content of these energies. But it creates a field that allows healing to begin, and an unclutching and unhooking, a disentangling from the tightness of the claws of these energies in our hearts and minds. Yeah. Forgiveness is an unburdening. It creates this field of allowing us to say, I see you and I forgive you. I don't have to hold you in more shame, blame, and judgment. I understand why you're here. I understand, just as Ian so beautifully, it's a funny word to say, but it's the word that comes to me, enunciated, named, described the path of each moment of practice. We offer forgiveness in these moments and other moments, building a path to a place of embodying our vision where there is no shame and blame and judgment in our hearts and minds, where we don't ever direct those energies towards ourselves or others. And that it just feels like such a sacred vision to have and to honor, and to begin to discern both how to love and also how to sustain wisdom and truth. I can honor and love my old defenses and know that the content, the stories around them are never true. And when we doubt, we only about the truth of our own judgment or shame and blame, we only need to turn to the world and see how racism and homophobia and sexism and oppression are sustained by believing judgment, shame and blame. And we know they're never true. And so when we direct it towards ourselves, sometimes it's helpful to remember that mirror that it so clearly reflects back to us, oh, this is what happens when you believe the content of those energies. There's only harm as the outcome and disconnection. So we then can enter this path of orienting, of turning towards forgiveness and love. We are always deserving of forgiveness and love. Always, in every moment. There is not ever one moment when we are not deserving of love and forgiveness. I'm just going to say that again. We are always deserving of love and forgiveness. There is never ever a moment when we're not deserving of it. No matter what we have said or done or thought, we are always deserving of these energies. They are the energies that live inside of us that we can call into being, and that live outside of us and we can call them into being. So I'm going to offer some phrases, and you can either use the phrases I offer or others that you prefer, or not even just offering any phrases, just listening. See if you would like to call into a place where you have judged yourself, or maybe demanded that you should be different than you are, more together, less forgetful, kinder, less grumpy. More responsible, all good things to want of ourselves, but then we fall into judging ourselves because we're not there. Or something else. Let's take a moment and see if you feel able to feel the energy of the judgment. Just all of us together be willing to feel what judgment really feels like when we judge ourselves. and then orienting towards love and forgiveness. I forgive you judging. I forgive what's underneath the judging. I'm a student of life and still learning this path of healing. And if I can't, may I in the future, now or in the future, may I forgive you. May I allow you to be there without continuing the judgment. May I hold you with compassion and forgiveness for trying to protect me and not always doing it in a skillful way. May I forgive you. May I forgive you. Again, if I can't forgive you now, I sow the seed. May I forgive you in the future, whenever I'm ready. There's no rush. There might be something else, some action or speech towards yourself or another that you would like to forgive. I understand. I was trying to protect myself. May I forgive you. May I forgive so I can be accountable. Building a field of love. May I allow myself to be imperfect and to make mistakes, big ones. May I allow myself to be imperfect and to make mistakes. May I forgive myself. Holding our imperfect selves with a trembling heart of empathy. Is it possible to love my imperfect, sometimes deeply imperfect self? May I learn how? Sometimes in hearing these phrases, the opposite can come up, like, oh God, I feel so pissed off right now. That's irritated. No problem. See if it's possible to give space to those feelings. Understandable that forgiveness might trigger them. And coming back to the body for a moment, feeling where your body is in contact with the chair or bed or floor, or just the ground underneath the feet. Feeling the touch of cloth against your skin of the clothes you're wearing. That touch and the touch of breath. If you feel ready, calling into being someone who has hurt you, and begin with a little hurt, not a big one. Seeing them clearly in your heart space or in your imagination. And see if you feel ready to allow them to be imperfect as well. In the same way that I have been imperfect, made mistakes that have harmed myself, may I allow this for you too. May I allow you to be imperfect and to make mistakes. May I allow you to be a student of life and still to be learning. May I forgive you. And if I can't forgive you now, no problem. I just am planting that seed that whenever I'm ready on my journey, may that forgiveness arise. See if you feel ready to let this being go. Maybe there are others, or maybe you want to return to yourself. Just connect with your breath again. And then, or if you're ready, calling in someone that you've hurt. seeing them clearly in your heart space or imagination, and asking them for forgiveness. May you forgive me. May you allow me to be a student of life and still to be learning. Imperfect. May you allow me to have made these mistakes. May you forgive me. Whenever you're ready, allowing this being to leave your heart space or imagination. Coming back to yourself. May I forgive myself for insisting I be different than I am, for demanding perfection, or a better model. May I forgive myself. Or for hurting myself in other ways, may I forgive myself. And then if you are willing, moving out to groups of people, communities of people. Just trying this on, those communities or locations of people who have hurt us. Can we allow them to be deeply imperfect? To get caught up and act out, make mistakes, big ones. Can we forgive them? Not pushing, but just inviting. Can I unburden my heart of defense, shame and blame around this community of people? I might be ready and I might not. May I forgive them? May I allow them to be students, sometimes lost students on the path. Whenever you want to, coming back to your body. If there's another community or another being or another place calling for forgiveness, offering that capacity. And then, as we come to the end of this evening's practice, taking a moment to appreciate and honor your practice of forgiveness, however it was, lying in the room listening, or just lying in the room and not even really listening, or practicing the practice, appreciating ourselves for wishing this liberation or healing, or that we're turning towards it, just that. I appreciate, I want to unburden my heart of shame, blame, and judgment. I appreciate, I want to. Thank you for that courage, this being that is me. Thank you. Extending these thanks to everyone in the room. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for also wanting this. I rely on you and your presence to help me want it, to this unburdening. Thank you for your presence in this room. And thank you for your practice today. Turning the thanks to everyone and then to ourselves. Thank you for your practice today. Thank you, everyone. Love and blessings.